Hello, my friend, and welcome to Something for Everybody. My name is Aaron Machbitz, and today is a solo episode of the podcast where I'm discussing some addictions that we need to break to become our best self. Now, I know addictions is a very powerful and strong word, and so maybe we're not addicted to these habits, but a lot of us fall back to these habits, and it's holding us back to becoming our best self. So as we head into 2025, these are some addictions or bad habits we need to break in order to become our best self. So let's jump right in. There's 7 of them. We're all familiar with these habits. Some of us may be more attached to these habits than others, but they're all things that all humans do. And the first part of changing anything is that awareness step. So we got to have awareness, acceptance, and action. And so there'll be all 3 of those parts in each of these attachments or habits that I discuss, and there's 7 of them. And when we're thinking about changing our life, I know I've discussed this on this podcast before, but for those new listeners, the best way and the fastest way to improve your life is not to keep adding things, but it's to delete or remove things. The fastest way to improve your life is to stop doing the things that make you feel like shit. And so these attachments, habits, maybe addictions are making you feel like shit. So let's try to delete them. But we can't just remove everything all at once. That's too much. We need to think of these little small actions we can take to start removing these things from our life, and then potentially replacing them with better, more productive, more healthy habits. But we all do these 7 things. That's why it's easy to talk about. It's easy to relate to, but we have to become aware that maybe this is us a little bit more than others, and we need to start removing, deleting, changing, adapting, and moving into this action step to try and become our best self. And so let's move right into number 1, which is comparison. Comparison. We all do this. All humans do this. It's human nature. It's part of our evolutionary sort of biology to want to connect with each other, but it gets to this sort of bad side of it, which is comparison, because comparison can lead to rushing your goals. It can lead to dissatisfaction with life. It can really lead to feelings of inadequacy because we're always looking and comparing at others and thinking their life is so much better than mine, what's happening. But we never know. We never know what someone's going through, what's going on in their life, what's the actual truth, especially if we only are seeing them from afar through this little lens of the highlight reel they post on social. We just don't know. And so comparison is best when it's comparing myself to who I was yesterday and who I can be tomorrow, to always trying to elevate and improve my game. Now, comparison, when it's sort of potentially on the healthy side, I'm comparing myself to potentially someone that I want to be more like. And I'm not comparing in a way where I'm here, they're here, even though their journey is 10 years farther than mine. I'm using it as a sense of social persuasion to say that if they can do it, so can I. Maybe comparison isn't the word for that, but you're saying, oh, that guy did it, maybe so can I. And that's more of a motivation to know that you have the capabilities to do it as well, because another human being also did it. Because when we really get to the darkest side of comparison, it will zap the joy out of your life, especially if you let it. Comparison is the thief of joy. We've heard that phrase and that quote over and over and over again, but it's really true. And so we have to focus on what we can control: our attitude, our effort, our response to challenges, things of that nature, things that are in our control, and try and let go, yes, harder said than done, to all of the things that are outside of our control, which is other people, their progress. It's about us. What we're doing, our journey is going to be much different than someone else's journey. Yes, we can use them as motivation or support, but our journey is ours, and that's what we need to focus on. And so if you're trying a little action step here, maybe potentially try this. Add a simple gratitude practice to your morning and evening routine, really. Because when we really get concrete on what we're appreciative of and what we're really, really grateful for, we have less time, less energy to compare things to other people, because we're so thankful and we're so grateful for what we do have that we don't want to spend or waste any of that energy on comparing ourselves to others. So yes, we've talked about gratitude a lot on a morning and an evening routine, but you have to make time for it. You have to make time for a simple gratitude practice, simply acknowledging and valuing and appreciating what you do have, while still knowing that I can strive for more. That's extremely valuable, especially when it comes to sort of breaking this habit, addiction, attachment of comparison. So that's number one. Number two, comfort. The comfort zone is where your dreams go to die. You don't need to do something wild like, skydive or jump off a cliff, but you do need to push yourself a little closer to the edge. You do need to push yourself a little closer to the edge. It's about challenging yourself. There's this thing called the challenge skill ratio, right? When the challenge is high and we have the requisite amount of skills almost to meet that challenge, that's when we're pushing ourselves. But when the challenge is low and our skills overmatch, we're bored. But when the challenge is high and we don't have any of the prerequisite skills, then we feel anxious about it. So there's that sweet spot between challenge and skill that's really allows us to expand our comfort zone. And that's really where we grow. That's how we grow. It's literally the only way. Now, people talk about this all the time. None of these concepts that we're going to discuss are new. But sometimes we need a refresher. Sometimes we need to hear it in a different way. Sometimes we need just something different when it comes to these attachments or habits or addictions that's going to allow us to break free from that and finally blossom into this best version of ourselves. And we have to move out of our comfort zone. There's just no way around it. The comfort zone is where your dreams go to die. So we have to be doing voluntary suffering. There's going to be involuntary suffering in your life. Things that happen, catastrophes, obstacles, challenges, things that you have no control over. That's just involuntary suffering, involuntary challenges. They're going to happen. How do we handle those things? The more we put ourselves in challenging situations, involuntarily suffering situations, the better we're going to equip ourselves to be able to handle those uncontrollable, unseen circumstances that jump into our life. That's why sports and working out and jiu-jitsu and all of these things allow you to get out of your comfort zone, because you're trying things that are hard, doing a fitness competition like my wife has done a couple times. Like, she's putting herself outside of her comfort zone to expand her capabilities, to really grasp how capable she truly is. And you can do the same thing with little steps here and there outside of your comfort zone. Whatever it is, whatever your sort of base layer is, step just a little bit outside. You don't have to leap outside of it, just one little step outside your comfort zone. And that step becomes another, and then you just start expanding your confidence zone and your confidence zone and your competence zone. Like, all of these things grow as you start to step outside your comfort zone. And that's amazing. And so try this for your sort of your action step, right? We're seeing the awareness, acceptance, action, or becoming aware of maybe the things that are not helping us or hindering us, or accepting the fact that this is me. And then we're moving into action. So try this. Use the 85% rule. Learning is optimized when you get things right about 85% of the time. That's an action step. Another action step is sign up for something. Sign up for something that is a little bit scary that you know you can do. A retreat, a competition, whatever it is inside of what you're doing in your life, sign up for that thing. That's getting you out of your comfort zone. Tell someone about it, hold yourself accountable, and then go do that thing. The results don't matter. It's about stepping into the arena. So that's comfort was number 2. Number 3, quitting. The only way to guarantee failure is to quit. The only way to guarantee failure is to quit. Simply staying in the game long enough will put you ahead of almost every single person. That's it. That's the only thing you need to know about quitting. Again, I've given my definition for success as giving your best effort. My definition for failure is the refusal to move forward. The only time you are a failure ever is if you refused to move forward. Same thing here with quitting. The only way to guarantee failure, which is a refusal to move forward, is simply by quitting. It's by giving up. It can't be an option. Before you start anything, you have to make the pre-commitment to say, no matter what, I am not giving up. I don't care how long this takes. And now there's a difference between leaving something, excuse me, my eye's itchy. There's this difference, something that's stop, when you stop doing something that's no longer serving you, that's not quitting. It's also the difference between something that's not for you anymore or not healthy for you anymore that you're leaving and you're moving away from. Now, this is a very distinct form of quitting here that we're talking about in your life, in your pursuit of your goals. Now, if you change paths or change careers, there's other circumstances that could be at play here. So this doesn't encapsulate everything that happens in your life, but majority of the time, simply staying in the game long enough will put you ahead of most people. Again, make the pre-commitment. Make this a value of who you are. You will not quit. You will not give up no matter what. Then you're never a failure and you always have success because you're continually giving your best effort. Make that a cornerstone of who you are. And then here's an action that you could potentially try. Commit to something. Now, you could relate both of these two things, comfort from number 2 and quitting from number 3, with this action right here. Commit to something and give your friend $100. If you quit, they get to keep the money. So boom, you sign up for the gimmick, sign up for the competition, sign up for whatever, you give your friend $100. You're getting out of your comfort zone by doing the thing that you're scared of, an improv class, a fitness competition, doing a public speaking gig, whatever it is. And you paid for that, and you paid your buddy, and you got out of your comfort zone, and you did the thing. So you didn't quit, you didn't give up, you went all the way through, you prepared, you showed up, you did the thing, and now you've taught yourself a valuable lesson that you can get outside your comfort zone. It feels good to get outside your comfort zone. It feels accomplished, fulfilled to get outside your comfort zone. And you're giving yourself credible evidence that you do not give up, that you show up when you need to, and you're not a quitter. You always show up, you always show up, and you always show up, and you keep getting up. So you're giving yourself credible evidence in 2 domains to get outside of your comfort zone and that you're not a quitter. That's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful way to continue to improve yourself and elevate yourself in that level. Next one, number 4, distraction. Big one nowadays. Do you distract yourself from real life? Not including sleep. Is there ever a time when you're watching, listening, when you're not watching, listening, or consuming some kind of information? Distraction. There's probably 2 things that will get you ahead of everyone else in today's day and age. One is not quitting, not giving up. And the second is placing your attention on the right things on the right amount of time. That's distraction. Everyone's multitasking this, that. Oh my God, what's going on? And there's no deep work. Everything is shallow. Well, if you can be the person who knows from the start, I'm not giving up until I accomplish my dreams, I reach my targets, I'm going towards my North Star, and I'm going to get into some deep work. I'm going to block out distractions, and I'm going to place my attention at the right things for the right amount of time. You're way ahead of everyone else. And so to work on not being distracted, you need to schedule 2 15-minute blocks each day to do nothing. You're not meditating. You're not doing anything. No inputs, no distractions. You're just sitting there for 15 minutes. You've probably seen some of the videos on social about, some guys raw dogging their airplane trips. They're just staring at the screen the whole time for the trip. Now, I wouldn't go to that extreme, but there's got to be some parts of your day where you just sit. You're not trying to breathe. You're not trying to do anything. There's nothing to do. We're always trying to do something. These are just 15-minute blocks where you just sit. You could stare at the wall. You could sit in silence, you're just not doing anything. You're not on your phone, you're not watching TV, you're not whatever, right? And you can work up to this by, going for walks, starting for 5 minutes, breathe, focus on your breathing. There's ways to work on this stuff. But really what we're trying to do is train ourselves to focus on one thing at one time, what's important now, paying attention to the right things at the right time. That's how you do distractions. And if you can block out distractions, you're going to be way ahead of everyone else. And so that's number 4. Number 5, your phone, right? Because just distractions lead right into your phone, right? You knew this was coming, right? Phone addiction is real and it's very dangerous. So you can try a few things, right? Turn your phone off 1 hour before bed and don't turn your phone on for 1 hour after you wake up. If you can apply those 2 things, your life will most likely transform before your eyes, because you're giving yourself a chance to not have all this input and stimuli come into your brain. You're giving a chance yourself to wake up and cool down before bed, and you're blocking out some distractions so you can get into deep work or deep focus. And you can do all of these things that allow you to become your best self, because again, you have to have control over the phone. The phone can't have control over you. And that's a huge thing. And so if you're someone who does have a little bit of a compulsion, let's say, to their phone, or an addiction to their phone, then you have to start doing these things in a very, very small way, right? Habits too small to fail. So if the ultimate goal is to turn your phone off 1 hour before bed, and that's really hard for you right now, okay, well, let's try 30 seconds. I'm going to try to turn my phone off 30 seconds before I go to bed. So I turn my phone off, 30 seconds of just sitting there. Boom, it's been 30 seconds. Let's go to sleep, right? You have to build up your habits, too small to fail. Same thing, turn on your phone 1 hour before you wake. If you immediately wake up and grab your phone, okay, let's try waiting in bed for 30 seconds. When I wake up from an alarm that's not my phone, because I put my phone somewhere else, right, outside of my room to make it just a little bit harder. But if I'm doing the 30 seconds before bed and after bed, then my phone is still on my nightstand. So these are just ways you can continue to improve this by putting your phone outside of your room, somewhere far away, so it's really hard to get to. So when you do wake up, you have to get out of bed, you have to move around, you have to go get your phone. It's already been a couple minutes before you got your phone. But if that's really hard for you, okay, let's do the 30-second rule again. Okay, I wake up, I wait 30 seconds. I can do this, I can do this, then grab the phone. And now you've built in, okay, I can do 30 seconds, tomorrow 45 seconds, then a minute. And then you start to build and build and build. And little do you know, now your phone is outside of your room. You have 60 minutes before and after you wake up, and you're just crushing it. And your life feels fresh. You get better sleep. You're more alert and awake when you wake up. You can get right into deep work and deep flow, and you're not distracted as much during those hours before and after you wake and all of this stuff. And like, that's the building of the habits that are too small to fail. Awareness, acceptance, action. You're aware, you've accepted it, that the phone is a real issue, a real compulsion, and then you moved into action. Okay, again, too small to fail. What did I say at the start? Yes, most of the time, the way to improve your life is to stop doing the things that make you feel like shit, deleting things, removing things, but then eventually replacing them with really strong, concrete, built-in habits. And the only way to do that is have a long-term vision of those habits and build them from the ground up. From the ground up. Habits are built too small to fail. Okay, 2 more, almost there. Here we go. Number 6, multitasking. That has a lot to do with distractions and the phone. This all goes hand in hand, whether it be writing, reading, or even watching a movie. All right, half focusing leads to half-assing. Half focusing leads to half-assing. There's no such thing as multitasking. There's such thing as task switching. I'm going from one task to the other, one task to the other, and there's some residual brain energy that's left in each task as I'm switching back and forth. But there's no such thing as multitasking unless you're a mom. Moms can multitask. They're superhuman. Sorry, just is what it is. But for us mortals, us regular people, multitasking is just not the way to go. We want to follow through on the task at hand all the way through and then move to the next task. Because again, half focusing or half paying attention leads to half-assing. I mean, you could even tell this while you're watching a movie. You're watching a movie, you're also on your phone, and there's some other thing over here that you don't know what's going on in the movie. You have no idea what's going on in the movie because you're doing this thing here and this thing over here. You're half focusing, which leads to, in that sense, half-assing, paying attention to the movie. Now you have no idea what's going on. I mean, you could see that in even the smallest, most mundane example of watching a movie. Okay, but what about real work that's really important to you? Now you're half focusing because you got your attention over here, attention over here, attention over there, and now your work is half-assed, and you got to do it again. My dad always told me if you do it right the first time, you don't have to do it again. Because I would always, half-ass I would always half-ass my math homework because I just didn't want to do it. I hated it. But he says, if you just do it right the first time, you don't have to do it again. But I did it half-ass the first time, half-ass the second time. So then eventually I had to do it a third time. And then eventually I did it with full commitment and full focus. But what if I just did it fully focused the first time? There wouldn't have been a second or a third time. Wouldn't that have been better than having to do the same thing 3 times? So multitasking, get rid of it. Distractions, boom. Really, distractions and multitasking are all about finding that deep work. Cal Newport style, deep deep work. 90-minute work bouts of just getting after it with no distractions, no multitasking, just you and the work you're trying to accomplish that's most important, just getting after it. And so when thinking about multitasking, try this. Commit your full focus to whatever you're doing. Start with a 5-minute time block, a 10-minute time block, a 15-minute time block, whatever you deem as a habit that's too small to fail, and lock in for that allotted amount of time. Okay, here 5 minutes of locked in. Here we go. 10 minutes locked in, 15 minutes locked in. And soon you know you can do 90-minute work bouts. And when you do 90-minute work bouts, then you can take about a 15-minute break, and then you get back into the 90 minutes. But again, multitasking and committing to this full focus without multitasking, again, starts with something that's too small to fail. I'm going to do this full focus work right here for 1 minute. Boom. Then you build up to 2 minutes and 3 minutes and 4 minutes and 5 minutes. 6 months down the line, halfway into 2025, we're doing 90-minute work bouts, and we're absolutely getting the most deep work done possible, and everything in our life is transforming in a positive way. This is the vision you have to have, not just saying, I need to do this now. Yes, of course you need to do it. It's beneficial for your life, and it'll help you become the best version of you. But how do you make this habit actually stick? This is the way. Too small to fail, too small to fail, too small to fail. Awareness, acceptance, action. Last one, and here we go. It's all of this sort of summed up in number 7 is waiting for perfect conditions to start. There's someone out there who's way less qualified than you and is living the life you want simply because they took action. There will never, ever, 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 ever be a perfect time. Ever. Not ever. You just have to start, and getting to the starting line is the hardest part. And then once you get one foot moving and a little bit of motion and a little bit of momentum, it's much, much easier that way. But you have to get started. Nothing will ever, 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 ever change unless you have action. Action is the only pathway forward. Thinking about action is not action. Thinking about anything is not action. Planning to do the action is not action. Planning to do the action is not action. Saying you're going to start next week is not action. Actually doing the thing is action. Simply because they took action is the only thing that's stopping you from getting the life that you want when you're comparing, going back to number 1, when you're comparing yourself to others. If you don't have action, you'll never get to the spot that you want to be in. You simply have to start and then iterate and review and execute from there over and over and over and over again forever. Because it's an endlessly evolving process of you blossoming and becoming this best version of you. But it all starts, no matter what, with action and just starting and getting going. And you can review your process and tweak and change your lead measures and all these sorts of things. And you can look at all other of these 6 habits or addictions or attachments, tweak those along the way, but knowing that they're never going to get changed. They're never going to get changed unless you start moving. If you're only thinking about it or listening about it or talking about it, you're not actually doing the thing. You have to go out and try and try and try and fall down and fall down and fall down and then get back up and review and tweak and iterate and then keep moving forward with action, with action, with action, with action, with action. Okay, so try this Jeff Bezos 70% rule. Take action when you have 70% of the information you wish you had, which is all of us have that. Okay, there's going to be no perfect conditions. It'll never be at 100%. You'll never know everything. It'll always be uncertain and scary and hard, but you have to move past your comfort zone like we talked about. You have to make the pre-commitment that you're not going to give up, and you just have to start. Okay, you just have to start. And so let's quickly just go over our 7 addictions or habits or attachments that we must break to become our best selves. 1 was comparison, 2, comfort, 3, quitting, 4, distraction, 5, your phone, 6, multitasking, and 7, the most important one, waiting for perfect conditions to start. All of these sum up, basically, take action. Right? Take action, knowing that habits are built on too small to fail. Start small, build from there, but you have to be aware, you have to accept, and then you have to move into action, action, action. So thank you very much for tuning into that episode. If you found it valuable, if you found it valuable at all, please share it with a friend. It's the absolute best marketing tool we have, is when you send the link to all your friends, family members, so they can also, try to become the best version of themselves along with you in that partner journey. But I appreciate you, and I'll see you guys next time. Lots of love. Cheers. Thank you very much for tuning into that episode. And if you enjoyed it, click right here for another full-length episode of the podcast. And please don't forget to subscribe. But most importantly, above all else, please take good care of yourselves and others. And I'll see you next time. Lots of love. Cheers.